Well, Ross Dellenger must be pretty close on his SEC schedule prognostications that came out this past weekend. Otherwise, you wouldn't get all this Nick Saban grumbling like you're getting. So we must be close. Let's talk about it.
Let's go!
Welcome back to the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. And if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring that bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Folks, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for all the subs and interaction with our content here over the last few weeks. It's been going great. We are getting really, really close to 1,500 subscribers. That is a milestone for the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. So make sure that you are sharing with all your friends that love college football. Make sure they're checking out the show. Today, just wanted to talk a little bit for just a few minutes about the 366 model schedule. We kind of talked about it a little bit before, Drew and I. Possibilities of what you might see for Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M, the entire SEC once Oklahoma and Texas enter in 2024. We were a little off, but kind of some surprising. If you believe what Ross Dellenger is prognosticating, Sports Illustrated's Ross Dellenger, that is, he's got some projected matchups based on, of course, what we talked about before. And I had a couple of people that asked in that video about where did you get this top half, bottom half of the league statistic. It was all out there, but I did get it a little off. And so the way that they figured it is over the last 10 years, and they hadn't announced that part before, but over the last 10 years, wherever you sat top or bottom of the league is where you're going to sit, or wins, losses, I guess is how they're doing it, obviously with Oklahoma and Texas coming in. So if you're one of those top half teams in the top 8, you're going to play as your protected rivals 3 of those every year. Then you'll play the remaining 12 on a every other year basis is the way that this schedule is apparently going to go. You would have 3 protected rivals. You play them every year. You'll play 6, which would be half of the rest of the league one year, then 6 the other year, which allows you to play essentially every team in the league at least every other year. And within a 4-year period, you will have played at every venue in the SEC. Very cool. I think it's an exciting schedule, and it's going to make for some exciting matchups. But man, you look at this thing; it is going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. One more year in the Big 12. I hope Oklahoma goes in there and wins it, and then move on and see how. Let's go test our luck out in the SEC. Now, so if you're one of those top half teams, you play 2 top half teams as one of your protected rivals, 1 bottom half team. It's also kind of figures in major rivalries that you already have. Obviously, Oklahoma and Texas, as we said in the last video, they are playing each other every year. They did not bring that rivalry over to the SEC so that they could play it every other year. Texas will also play, according to Let me just go ahead and pull up this rivals. You will also have Texas playing Texas A&M, which I know a lot of Horns fans, and I would hope Aggie fans as well, are excited about that as well. So you've got OU, Texas A&M, and then they will also play Arkansas, which a lot of people were predicting that. And so apparently they've built up quite a nice little rivalry playing each other every few years um, over a while. So it's exciting. Oklahoma, uh, pretty cool. A lot of folks were kind of wanting the Sooners to get to play Arkansas as well. That didn't work out. You are going to be playing Missouri. I think a lot of people picked that just right. I kind of expected as much as well. Again, you will play um, the Longhorns every year, same time of year, just like always. But you're not going to be throwing either Texas A&M or another regional rival, but they are kind of stoking a new one with the Florida Gators. I will be talking later on this week with High Top Sports um, a little bit about this as well. We might talk a little trash. I like it. I think I like every year we're going to get a chance to go up against solid team, and every other year you're going to get to go to the swamp. That's going to be a fun. I can't wait to really check that one out. But so any of those bottom half teams in the standings for the last 10 years, they will play two bottom half teams and one top half team. That way that they to make it fair, I guess, as well. It and honestly, looking at this schedule, I don't have a huge problem with it. I think again, I just think that the schedule format itself is a lot of fun. You're going to get to see something like that I've not really cared about a whole lot is that the a lot of teams don't necessarily play each other unless they're playing in, say, conference championship. We're talking Bama and of course Georgia. Now they've played a lot over the last 5 or 6 years, but it's never been in the regular season, which probably could have affected who was getting in to that conference championship game a little more often. I would have liked to have seen that. Now, at least they're going to play every other year. You will play everybody every other year at the minimum. So, kind of cool. Kind of cool. You're going to be able to, see everybody in this conference, this 16 team mega conference that is just going to be a load. But I feel like this is, and with the extended playoff, there's a lot of opportunities to have a shot. Obviously, you got to bring it every weekend, so it's going to be exciting. But somebody that's not so excited about it, imagine that. And this is what makes me feel like this is definitely must be a something that's going to happen. Is that Nick Saban of the Crimson Tide is complaining? As you can see, his schedule is the two teams that you knew he was going to play probably every year, Tennessee and Auburn. The Tennessee game has been going on same time of year for longer than anybody watching this video has probably been alive. The LSU one, the LSU game, I think that one surprises people a bit. Um, and I don't know if that's the one that's really got him ticked off, but let's take a look at what he had to say here about this. Obviously, he says, I've always been an advocate for playing more conference games, but if you play more games, I think you have to get three fixed opponents right. They're giving us Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU. I don't know how they come to that decision. Um, yeah, as I said, that makes you feel like it probably this is probably what they came to. Now, will they change their mind because he's complaining about it? It's possible. You never know. But I don't know who he thought he was going to get. They for sure were going to definitely play Auburn. I mean that the Iron Bowl is not going away. That's one of the top rated rivalry games in the country. I think it's number 2 according to 247. You're definitely not going to get rid of Tennessee again. That one has been going on for longer than um that one's been going on longer than any of us have been alive. And then The LSU game, which I think it was a surprise, but they've been playing every year for a long time because they've been in the same division. It's turned into itself a big rivalry. It I guess they could have probably maybe gotten, I don't know, Florida or somebody. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But Florida is kinda stuck. If you look at their schedule, you know, they're definitely, obviously, I guess they could have swapped out with Oklahoma, to play Florida, but the Florida schedule is racked with 2, games that they play pretty much every year, which is the Georgia game, and South Carolina as well. So, you know, I along with the Oklahoma one, I think that's a good schedule, and what I can see here is it looks pretty equitable. When you look at LSU, uh, you know, kind of the difference between Coach Saban and some of the other coaches, let's take a look at and Coach Venables kind of talked about it a bit once they announced that Oklahoma and Texas were going to be leaving a bit early. They were more talking to him about whether it was going to be an 8 or a 9 game schedule. Obviously, we're looking at a 9 game schedule as is right now. And but he didn't talk so much about the protected rivalries, but he was saying, as far as like the 8 and 9 game schedule, there's pros and cons to all of it. And really, it doesn't bode well for me to really have an opinion for everybody to pick apart because they're going to tell me what the schedule is. And I don't mind that as long as it's the same for everybody. So that's where I stand on that. So he's indifferent to it. That's probably a smart coming into the SEC in your first year. You probably don't want to make a ton of waves, come in and start barking and complaining and doing. I mean, he hasn't really earned that in the SEC the way that Nick Saban has. Although I wish Nick would stop. I don't understand what he thinks is the problem. If you look at Oklahoma's schedule, again, they're playing Texas as they do every year. Then they're going to be playing Florida every year. And they're also going to still get Missouri. That would be kind of their one that's a little down. But if you're looking at the schedule, it looks pretty equitable, and that's what he was hoping for. You look at Georgia, they're always gonna play Auburn because that's the oldest rivalry in the South. Um, they're always going to play Florida because it's Florida, and that's the world's largest cocktail party, another big rivalry. And then of course they get UK, Kentucky. So I guess what Alabama, I think what Nick Saban was talking about was that he felt like the Tennessee game probably they should have. He wanted them to not go over a 10-year period because the last 10 years until last season, Tennessee wasn't very good. But he lost to Tennessee last season, so that doesn't make him happy. Now, of course, it was the first time in 15 years that happened. But, again, I've got my feelings about Nick Saban. I'm going to keep them to myself at this point. I think he complains about a lot of stuff, but it's fine. I mean, he's the GOAT right now. He's definitely the GOAT, and he decides how he wants it. He's never going to be happy, and I think that's kind of the way he coaches his team. Never happy. Not really hating on that. I understand it. Um, so it is what it is. Now, but you look at Tennessee, they also they kind of probably got a nice little draw there because they were on the bottom half, and that's what he was talking about. I think was that if you look at the whole history of the SEC, Tennessee's one of the top, definitely one of the top teams in the conference. The last 10 years, not so much. So does it change over the next 10 years? I don't know. I don't know if it's something they would do, but I think that this is going to definitely generate some new rivalries. Um, you know, Obviously, your major rivalries are going to be preserved. Texas A&M is going to continue to play LSU. And when you see so out of the three quotes that I've gotten here about this, Brian Kelly, who a lot of times he's a little gruff and complaining, but not at all in this case. He says, I want to play the best. I came to the SEC because I want to play Alabama. I want to play A&M. I want to play Auburn, the great teams. We get to play Ole Miss, A&M, and Alabama, and that's really why I came down here. So Brian Kelly's happy with the schedule. I think he's happy with the thought that I think a lot of people at LSU were thinking that they were going to stick with the two Mississippi schools and A&M. They instead get to keep that every year rivalry going with Alabama, and I think that that's been one of the marquee matchups for a long time. I understand why they did it. Um, I, I guess maybe Saban felt like since he's playing Tennessee, and Tennessee's on the up, and or they're coming up. It looks like with Josh Heupel and his high-powered offense. If they can get a defense going, they're definitely a dangerous program. So he's a little concerned with that. Something that I would say about this conference, though, and especially with the extended playoff, would be the fact that listen, this is not a deal where you have to necessarily um, make the conference championship game or not lose more than one game now, because with this 9-game schedule you're going to see something that I've liked to see is that the SEC is not going to be playing cream puff you towards the end of the season anymore, where you're playing the Citadel or you know um I don't know, New Mexico State or something like that. You're just not going to get those guys. So that's a good thing, I feel like. And I feel, because of the fact that you've got these extra spots, you could see the SEC put as many as 3, 4 teams in the playoff every year. And I think that you're going to see possibly a team with 2 losses for sure is probably going to make it in. A team with 3 could if they got hot at the right time, it seems like. That's cool. N and I feel like you're obviously gonna see similar, if because the Big Ten appears once it gets USC and UCLA, and if it goes ahead and they add Oregon, Washington to the mix as well, you just turn that thing into a monster conference as well, finally, because right now you have 2 really good teams, and then you have a, kinda good team in Penn State. We're gonna find out a little bit about them this year. But the SEC schedule is a gauntlet. They're going to, you would figure that this playoff committee is going to reward you for playing well again, and they're not going to ding you so hard for you know, losing a game or so, or a couple of games, to a top 10 ranked, top 15 ranked team in this conference, because it is absolutely going to be it's going to be a gauntlet every year. And I think that's what's great about it. That's the one thing that I really like about the realignment is that we're going to see a lot more of these matchups that you want to see and possibly get to see them again, later in the year in the playoffs. So it's exciting. It's exciting. So obviously, when you start looking at the difference in those 3 coaches, they all had a different thing to say, but I think they were all kind of saying the same thing too. They all wanted it, Nick Saban, I saw where he was talking to Josh Pate this past year at SEC Media Days, and he was talking about how it's important to fill up these stadiums and give them great matchups, give the fans great matchups. That's what this schedule is going to do. I know myself, I am super excited about the way that this looks. Um, I Originally, I think that whenever Drew and I came on and did the first schedule video, we kind of thought of it in terms that he was really hoping for Arkansas. I could get behind Arkansas because it's close. It's a close matchup. Um, but I really do like the fact that they're throwing in that Florida game. And tell me, guys, whatever you think about this as well, as an Oklahoma fan, or and take a look at obviously taking if you Florida fans out there, what do you think about it? We're actually, as I said, I'm going to get on with High Top Sports, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this later on in the week. But I really am excited about the more I've seen this and thought about this, the more excited I get about playing a Florida every year. That Oklahoma played them in a national championship game, lost to that game, and it was a close one, but it was one that you kind of feel like you owe them one. I think that this could spur a pretty and when we were talking with F is for Fanatics, Cody, the other day, and he was kind of talking about drawing parallels between the Oklahoma program and the Florida program right now, kind of going through the same rebuild time and having had some of the same things happen with the past coaches that were in the program. You got rebuilding coaches, seeing how it goes. I feel like it's going to be a fun matchup to have on a year-to-year basis. I'll tell you what, I can't wait to go to the swamp. Obviously that's going to be a tough place to go and play, but it'll be a lot of fun for fans to go down there and get to check that out. I'm going to go down there and see the boys at High Top Sports and F is for Fanatics for sure. Um, Going to be a lot of fun, man. I can't wait for any of it. But let me know what you think. Would you have liked to have seen a little something different, or now that you're seeing this schedule, is it growing on you a little bit? Let me know in the comments. Please make sure that if you'd like to help us, hey, we're doing great. We're getting close to that 1,500 mark. I really hope we get some more subscribers. Make sure to share this with your friends. Make sure you hit that like button. It's so important for content creators such as myself. And hey, if you want to help us out financially, please do so. You can hit the right there below on the screen there. Just here would be your right side there, just below. You can hit us on Cash App or Venmo, or you can just hit that heart button and give us a tip. You can always get podcast merchandise. We got the horns down stuff on there as well. Check out that 5 Bs of Oklahoma shirt. I think some of you will really like that. It's about coaches. I think you'll like it. Check out that t-shirt, some of the hats. We're going to be doing some new designs here coming up soon. As you can see right now, I've got my Hall of Fame College Football Podcast t-shirt on. We've got some cool stuff like that all the way throughout. You can still right now get a deal through Fanatics. We are working on some other sponsor deals, things like that, to where you can get some better deals on some of that stuff. If there's certain products that you're looking for in the audience, um, let us know what that is, because we can get a lot of affiliate deals and things like that where we can help you get a great deal. It'll give us a little commission, just like how Fanatics works. But make sure you hit that like button. You can go to any one of those sites. We have our merch store, or you can go right above. But hey, a little tip wouldn't hurt anything either. Thanks a lot, guys. We will see you on the next one.